What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sith Council Big Thing. Man, Andor, episode 9. It's in the books. We're going to talk about it here today. I'm going to get some of the names right. Some of them probably not. Mike's here. Steph's here. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how Steph pretty much shut down the internet with her Instagram post. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Like, it's out there. I'm
we talking now? Are we allowed to talk right now or no?
You decided you wanted to. You break the rules.
Well, someone was laughing right there.
Hey, what's behind that inner geekdom belt?
The belt that I've held for.
Anything else you see over there? Anything you see by that? Where is it? Where is it over there?
This guy?
It's right behind the belt. No, right behind the belt. Can you go ahead and see what's behind that belt over there? What's behind that belt over there? Can you see what is that? What's behind that belt?
Kevin Smets, the 2020 Yodi Award winner. The man beat cancer, so he deserves this.
Yes, he does.
I haven't.
Look how nice you are.
Well, what am I going to say? You didn't deserve this award?
All right, we'll get into it in a second. Listen.
You fought cancer for a year? You don't deserve this?
Stop this.
Jesus.
Stop it.
What did you want? What are you trying to start there?
He was on the other day.
I know he was. You never invite me on Big Thing, but you invite him on there.
You're on this show every week. Shut your hole.
People want more of me.
That's definitely not true.
Everyone wants more.
Listen to me. We're talking about Andor, and the Acolyte finally started filming. That's good news.
Did it?
Yeah. And then we have some other stuff. Apparently, Tony Gilroy is talking a little bit more, or not Tony Gilroy, I guess someone else talking a little bit more how they saved Rogue One. So we'll get into that. It's Sith Council. It's me. It's Mike. It's Steph. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. Ready? We'll do the Big Thing logo today because I planned that out. So that's what we're gonna do.
I can feel your anger.
It's not our show.
Nope.
Gives you
It is.
focus, makes you stronger.
Welcome back, everybody. It's nice to have you here. Sith Council. It's me. It is Steph LaRousse.
Hello.
And Mike Kalinowski. What's up, everybody? Oh, Big Thing again. Well, cheers.
Look at that. That's perfect.
Yep.
You're top notch today.
It's been a day. It's been a day. Good to have you here. Andor, Mike, I'm going to start with you.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
I've just noticed this. Can we get any more shit in front of my face here during this 3-shot? Go to the 3-shot. Look at this. Every day I show up, there's more statues in front of me. Pretty soon it's going to be a wall of shit. I'll be like, hi, guys. I'm here for Sith Council.
Well, the audio listeners don't know.
Well, there's statues galore in front of me. We got Maul. We got... This guy's not even Star Wars, so I'm going to get him on the ground here.
Get him on the ground.
Oh, my neck is caught. Steph, put Jabba back. I don't mind Jabba.
Okay, lost it already. Lost control.
You can start with me.
Yeah, I'm going to start
Why?
with you. So because
But I'd love that.
Well, I want to get... I don't know if I should start with... We should start with Andor. Let's just start with Andor.
Put my t-shirt here.
All right, Andor comes out, and it's right back. And I will say...
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Shut your hole, because you do... Because one thing, as annoying as you are...
Yeah.
You do admit when you're wrong.
I do.
You do. And I'm going to do the same for you today because you said last week that Tony Gilroy had said this is a 3-episode arc.
Yeah.
It is indeed a 3-episode arc.
The jab, the cross,
jab,
uppercut.
Jab, cross, uppercut. So this was a cross.
Yeah,
and
it's a cross.
What a cross it was.
Holy Jesus.
Did you love it?
You kidding me?
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it?
Star Wars, I say this, I'm going to say this and I don't mean it. It's going to come off negative, but I don't mean it to. Star Wars has no right being this good.
Right, I know.
It just doesn't.
Television.
Yeah, as far as television, it has no right being this good.
Yeah.
Like, and again, this kind of slow burn television is usually not my thing.
Like I know Star Wars, yeah.
I know there's usually people talk about, shows like The Wire and stuff like this that I've tried to get into and I just can't. And I appreciate how good they are, but this show, again, I don't even think there was a laser blast this episode. Nothing.
No, it was a build, and it was there was like 4 different things, Steph, that were building up, and there was the build up, obviously, of Dedra and what she's doing.
Oh my gosh, she needs to get slapped.
I was saying, she's a nasty woman.
she's
For real.
and
Absolutely.
She is so good at what she does. Because she is going through, because remember what I said in my review.
Yeah.
Was that when you first see her, you're like, oh, she's going to have to fight through this system and prove how good she is. And she's doing that, but she's ruthless. And then she's got Serial Face, who's now a stalker. What did you think about this angle?
She's absolutely evil, and she's just perfect for the fascist regime that they're presenting. And her and Serial are like made for each other. Like there was definite heat rising on both of their accounts.
You
Like,
think it's gonna happen, those two?
I don't think they'll show it, but I do. Yeah, they're gonna pair up.
You think so?
Yes, for sure.
You think she kind of is?
Yes, I think when she came back in her office and she was like, "Whew, girl, I've seen that before. I know what that feels like."
That is the angry. I tweeted this out last night, and I don't know if I was like, "Oh, is this gonna be a mistake? Is this gonna get me in hot water?" I just said, "Is like, so when are they gonna hate each other? Like, when is that happening with these two? Because you have those people you meet in life where they just irk the hell, but you're so compatible if you would just get past your own egos. Like, they're perfect for each other. Like, not as a couple, but their ideology of what the Empire
They're
is
like
and
twins.
but
they
can't admit it, but she's the dominant one,
and he's obsessed. And he's obsessed.
Oh, and he's obsessed. She's gonna choke the hell out of him.
Yeah.
And he's gonna do it to her, and she's gonna love it.
But it makes sense
Oh,
because
it's awesome.
she is like in it for. They're both have kind of different angles, right? Like, I feel like she just wants to be like pet and be like good dog, like you know what I mean. Like she just wants to be like have the upper hand in the IBS. He's like a great representative of like a school shooter, low key. Like, you know what I mean? Like they get this psychotic ideology and are like obsessed with it, and then have to find a way to do it.
Yeah, and I think that I mean, you have that scene because even I love that we call him Cereal. We know his name's Cereal. But
I mean, he's eating cereal.
Yes,
every
that's all
day.
he eats.
You know, what are you doing?
What's the uncle's name?
Ralphus.
Not Ralphus.
No,
it's not Harold. It's Uncle something. The way she says it.
Uncle June.
Yeah, okay.
Harloff.
Uncle Harlow.
Uncle Harlow.
Harlow.
It is, but yeah.
He's going to be so happy.
Oh my God,
You
look
got
at
your
you.
shirt up
Yeah.
and you're done up early.
There was-
I'm so proud
There was
of
just
you.
so much, but that angle of what was going on with him to where he shows up and she's like, "Are you stalking me?" He's like, "No, I was just smelling the air you walk by." But you know, like that whole thing that worked out really well, and even her assistant who's now trying to jump up, and he's making a couple
She's
moves.
doing what Dedra does.
Yes.
I feel like he's gonna come for her.
It seems like he
you
keeps
think so?
he keeps making the
Yes.
moves. She's like, "I want you to call the doctor." Did that already. And it's like, whoa. And the doctor, how creepy was that doctor? Like when Vix is getting tortured.
Oh my
And
god.
she's like, you know, it's your turn. He goes, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was so creepy. Did that creep you out?
Yes, because first of all, no one in the Empire is getting laid. Like, they have like way too much time on their hands to be evil. But I thought that was with no Sith Lords, they're doing such a great job of presenting an even more evil side of it, which is like used by politics, and like how little they do care about the people, and it's all about power. And everyone who is a part of the Empire are people who have like truly no soul or connection to humankind.
Something about this show, when I watch, the movies I watch or whatever, especially like superhero and all that kind of genre stuff, I'm always into the hero. Like I've always said, is like I could watch a Batman movie of him just fighting mobsters. I don't care about the Joker, this and that. This show, and particularly these past couple episodes, I'm more into the Empire than I am Andor and the good guys.
Right.
I am.
Remember we talked about this?
Yeah, you'd always say, like, I want to see both sides. I'm more interested in their story and their character arcs and what's going to happen with them than I am with Andor trying to do a prison break. Right
And
now.
you know
Gosh,
what?
I'm not, but I love that.
I
Do you know why
love them.
Yeah, but do you know why that is? I think because if you look at the way the Empire in most of the shows, even in the broken down Empire in the Mandalorian and all this, they're painted pretty much like black and white villains.
Totally.
Right? And it is just, they're almost cartoony at times, right? This is the most terrifying they've ever been.
But I'm also,
sure.
but I'm not
For
cheering
sure.
for them. I
No,
don't
no,
want them to
no.
win. I don't want them to
they
get
keep
Andor. It's like,
getting worse and worse. I want them all to die.
I want their comeuppance.
Yes.
I want the comeuppance
and
to
that's what
happen.
they're doing really well. The way that they're building it, it's the most like, I mean, there's tons of fascist regimes that have been like this, but it's the most Nazi that you've seen so far. Because even that scene that Andor has with Kino, who I'm now loving.
Obsessed.
Loving him now.
That last line.
But the way that they changed him up, and the way what they did with Andy Serkis, and now you know, oh well, that's why they brought Andy in for this role, because it makes more sense now than him just being like the
head
house dog.
A cameo house dog.
Yeah, he's not the house dog. He's got way more layers to him, and when Andor's trying to get him on his side, he's saying, how many Imperials are there walking around on that level? And he's saying, I'm not saying anything. He's like, good luck to you, whatever. He's like, how many?
I got
He's like,
200 or 400 shifts left.
Yeah, and he's like,
shut your mouth.
He's like, nobody's listening. He's like, don't worry, talk to me. No one's listening, right?
Yes.
And that's going what Steph's saying, that they're just not paying attention to these
At all.
people.
But to
yet.
those people, that have been there, they think we're under this imperial
course.
thumb. I'm like, we need to shut up. We can't do anything. Keep your head down. You got X amount of days left, and then the promise, we're gonna get out.
Right. It's like it had a Shawshank feel to it. It had all these things to it. So yeah, Steph, go ahead.
It has what this show is done better than any Star Wars show and better than any Disney Plus show. Period. Is the attention to detail.
Yeah.
Everything about this world is so detailed. The pacing and everything matches, right? So if you don't like the first episode, you're probably not going to like this one because it's slow and it's detailed and it's showing you exactly how it did unfold the way it did. And even in that prison with Andy Serkis's character, it's like you're actually
Kino,
getting
right?
Kino. You're getting like these character arcs. Same with Andor. Like now we're actually seeing him become a leader because he didn't start that way. He was like, "Why I'm here for the money." Now he's like talking to people, getting like being smart, and you're like, "This is how he becomes a rebellion leader." He's not just a dummy.
He's good at it.
He's
good at it. And
it.
he's paying attention to it, and he's understanding. He's starting to buy more into it of what it is. But it's getting on board with Kino, who is, as you said, Mike, he's just play by the rules. You only have so many days left, and then what was the old dude's name? Ulrich.
Ulrich.
Yugoff.
Yugoff. Ulrich might be from Dark. I'm obsessed with Dark right now. But either way, so Yulof. So he has that. He has that whole thing with him, and that's really where Kino wakes up because there's this whole thing that happens on level 2 or whatever happens to all of them, and they're like, well, what's going on with this? And that's when you started to see Kino break down a little bit. Not in that scene with the old man at first. It was before they said, we don't know what happened yet. So let's just keep it quiet. Let's just try to figure out. We don't know what happened yet. And it's like when he started to build him out that way, I'm like, okay, so he can come around. He's not just being this
Ulaf.
He's not just being this like lapdog.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of immigrant mentality. Like in my own family, immigrants are just known for keep your head down, listen to the rules, and like we can find the American dream. And I think that like that's a paradigm that they've built, and Kino's done that with this, where he's like, keep your head down, follow the rules, we'll get out.
Right.
But that's not how it is. You know, following the rules of a fascist regime. I'm not saying America is fascist, but following the rules of an unfair system isn't going to get you the outcome you think it's going to get.
Right.
And then I liked how he turned at the end because you know it had to have been layered. He's not going to go from all the way extreme.
Yeah.
Years of perfect behavior to all of a sudden like, yeah, Andor for sure.
Fantastic point, because that's also why I think the detail, as you were mentioning before, is so important to this, where in other not just Star Wars, in other shows that we've watched, it's like, well, that was a quick turn.
Yeah.
The guy was just like talking about just stick to your business, do this. Like what is it now? And now he's I'm on board with you guys. Just and there was this detail and attention to detail, as Steph was mentioning, that you get to that point where it starts to layer in a little bit. By the time he gets there, you're like, okay, you're telling us who this guy is. He's just a guy that wants to serve a sentence, wants to figure it out, will find his way out, but he cares. He cared about Ulrich, and Ulrich, I said again, Ulaf.
Do your research.
No. But he cares. He cares about. And you can tell that he cared, and he was heartbroken about that. So it was such a great ending when Andor's like, says it again. How many on there? And was he say 13 or whatever he says?
Well,
or
I think it's 12.
No more than 12
Yeah.
or whatever.
12 at one time.
And you're like, okay, so that's the uppercut. The uppercut we're gonna get in the next episode. Is
And
the
then
prison
when
break.
Andor was like, follow protocol or get in protocol, and like
Yeah.
he switched into that leadership mode because I can imagine that Kino's like his whole world's crumbled.
Yeah.
And he lose hope, and then Andor I was like, okay, now he's like the captain.
And I love what they're doing with Andy Serkis. They're utilizing him, and like, because he has a great scene where he like blows up at one point in this too, and he's like, and he's paying attention to all, and that's how you use Andy. I mean, Andy's like one of my favorite actors all time,
For sure.
And he when he blows up at one point, I saw Gollum come out for like a split second.
You know, thinking of him as an
Caesar
actor.
too.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about
absolutely.
that as an actor. You know, he as much as he does the motion capture stuff, he's such a talented physical actor as well. And I was like, wait a minute. Well, he was Alfred in Batman.
Yeah.
For a second there, I was like, why wasn't he in Batman? I was like, maybe he was. He was Alfred. He loses himself between the roles, even though he doesn't change anything to his face. He constantly changes himself.
Did you ever watch that movie 13 Going on 30?
Yeah.
So he's
he's
the boss.
He's the head of.
Oh my god.
Oh God! Hold on. What's the name of the magazine?
It's like the gay magazine owner.
It's sprite or reveal or
something like that.
Yeah,
he's,
it's-
he's just so he's just so
Yeah,
I
he was
would have never.
he's just such a versatile actor. And that's the whole thing. Is that
You could
he's
see him like his sweat dripping,
Yeah.
like it wasn't dripping, and then it was. I was like, how did people can put tears on? I've never
He's
seen
only
someone
got 40
activate
shifts left.
sweat.
Help him.
no, he
I'm
was
doing him a favor.
Yeah, it was so that whole thing with the doctor too, where he was, and they finally get Numbskull out of the Imperial out
Yeah.
of there, and then they're able to kind of figure out the plan. But the other thing, talking about figuring out the plan, and that's Mon Mothma, right? Like, so she had a lot
my
going on.
goodness.
Yeah, please go ahead, tell us. So we've got a big reveal here, Steph, that
So
we get
another detail why this is the best written Disney Plus show. It's like we got Cinta last episode or 2 episodes ago telling her that she's like rich.
Telling us
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's rich and spoiled or whatever. And I thought she could have been Skarsgård,
Luthen.
Luthens.
Yeah, we said Lucian last
Yeah,
time.
Do your
Luthen. Sorry,
research.
Luthen.
No.
But this reveal, I was like, oh my god, this makes so much sense, and I'm glad that Mon Mothma has someone that she can actually connect to because her family is not connecting with her at all.
No, and she has this thing, obviously with Ty,
Yeah.
where and that conversation she has with him, and when he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna bring in a gangster," and I'm like, "You mean the gangster
done-
we were waiting for in the Favreau trailers? Like that kind of gangster? Are we gonna get that kind of gangster?"
I've been doing the research, and you have all the answers, don't you? She's like, well, I needed to. And this is the guy. I can find someone else, but this is the guy.
So, do you think? And it doesn't matter if it is or not, but I'm just curious because they had Andy pop up. I mean, nobody knew he was coming in.
Yeah. Do you think it's a big character actor?
Do you think you think it's going to be a big reveal of
gotta
who it
be.
is?
Yeah.
Could be, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to be around after
Maybe.
the show. We're going to kill him off somehow.
Or maybe not. He could
Or
he could
maybe-
blend back into the ground.
This guy's popping in.
I don't think there's been no aliens.
I was thinking about that last night. I was like, this show is not. I think
A lot of mention
for
of
me-
aliens.
For me, if like Vader walks in now in one episode, it's gonna throw it off for me. It's just
That's
weird.
Such a.
It's a. I don't know why I'm saying this, but if like Vader walks in with the stormtroopers, I'm just gonna, and he's they're trying to
You feel out
rebel,
of place?
and he just goes with his lightsaber. I'm like, this is out of place. We don't need this.
I don't know. I mean, it worked in Rogue One, and it was the same type of setup.
Yeah, you don't think they've earned it? I don't think they're gonna do it, but I feel like they've
Yeah,
earned a
agreed.
moment like that.
I think that the reason
I don't think they need to earn a moment. Like that's the thing.
They
I don't think they
it.
need this.
Yeah, they don't.
Well,
They don't.
that's a difference.
Rogue
It-
One would have had a great, and again, that
and
was
it
an added
and
moment.
and it was cinematic. And
It was added.
Well,
That was not originally intended to be that.
Vader was in it,
But not that
always.
way.
Maybe not. No, I think originally he killed everybody. He was the one that killed.
Vader
everybody.
kills everyone? Well, that doesn't-
was
that's
rumor.
ridiculous.
And it was just because it was not. It was they went out on their own terms in the new ending.
Yeah.
But either. But,
No,
but,
I don't
no,
think
but,
it
but
needs
saying-
that.
But I agree with you there. It doesn't need it right now. But I do think that it would feel like in place, and it would feel like Star Wars. And I think one of the things that really cemented that for me in this episode was when Mon Mothma is given her speech
Yeah.
in the same room
Yeah.
that freaking Palpatine was fighting Yoda in.
Yeah. I know.
And
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So it brought it right back. And then there's some people, if you watch, I don't know if you guys watch it with subtitles, but like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
there's some people screaming out in the back. Some of the
Boo! Let him.
but some people let her talk. It's split, and then some people are shutting their lights off and walking out.
Lazy.
Yeah, it was great.
It reminded me of our senators. Like half of the time, I'm like, they don't do anything. I'm like, you guys
Yeah.
are getting paid to do. You don't
They
want to
scream
work.
at each
You
other.
don't want to work. You just want to scream or leave.
Or laugh at each other. They laugh at
yeah,
people.
and
And
I'm like, so you just are. It is representative. I feel like half the senators really want to be there for their people,
Yes.
and half of them are like, I would
Just here
rather
for the
be
paycheck.
rich. Yeah,
I'm here for the paycheck.
and didn't it go really well with Tales of the Jedi? Like
Yes.
in terms of like with the Dooku stuff, senators not
Yeah.
doing what they're supposed to do
Yeah.
for their constituents, and I just thought that the shows are pairing pretty
Yes,
well
and that
together.
was always the misconception when you were younger and thinking of, okay, well, here's the Empire. And the Empire are the bad guys, and they just overthrew the good guys. But you never realize in any society that what were the good guys doing
Yeah.
before they got overthrown? Well, they weren't working together. They were doing some stuff that wasn't working out. Now that they're all with the bad guys, it's like, do they conform? Like, think of it again. You talk about like Nazi Germany, right?
Yeah.
There were a ton of like people that had the opportunity to reject that government, and they
For
didn't
sure.
because they were benefiting from whatever Hitler was bringing in there, they were benefiting from it. So they said, we're going to go along with it. And then there are other people who pushed against it. There were other people who were too scared to do anything. And it's what this show echoes, and it's what Lucas echoed back in the day. That's why this show, it's so... I agree with you, Mike. I know what you're trying to say, like with the...
I totally know what you're
with
trying
the
to
television, like it's like this is the type of show that pops up and you're like, whoa, what's this new show? How detailed it is. I mentioned a step when we walked in, and I've been telling everybody till I'm blue in the face. I just started watching this show that people have been recommending me forever on Netflix called Dark.
Okay.
And it's a time travel show. It's a German show with subtitles, but it's incredible, and it's detailed and it's layered. And I really need you to watch it ASAP so I can talk to you about it.
I will. I'll watch it tonight.
I was at the dentist, and yesterday, and she's like, "Do you want to watch anything?" I said, yes, put them in Dark episode 5. And I was watching subtitles while I'm getting my teeth cleaned, but it's the same type of thing. We're talking about Andor. It's the layers. It's the take time, build, and get to this place. I want this show. I'm so bummed it's only going to be 2 seasons.
I know.
So,
They've only said it's only 2. Gilroy said Celebration
3.
sounded like 3.
He said 3, but then...
I think it's 2.
But yeah, because Cassian, because Diego Luna turned and said, well, I only signed on for 2. But they have 2. And how about Bix, by the way?
Oh.
Like, she's got to survive. The only reason I think she does survive this is what Dedra said. And she's like, keep her alive.
She doesn't survive the show.
No. She survives this interrogation.
Yeah.
Because they're going to put her back in the system because she's the only one that can...
He didn't want him to come to her.
Yeah, and she can identify what's his face.
Yeah.
Axis.
And then in the trailer, Ferrix has like a full uprising, right? I'm pretty sure. So I think that's probably going to come after they they do a public hanging.
Hang that clown.
That was a crazy scene,
right?
When he walks up to her and to Dedra and goes, "Well, what are we gonna do with her?" She's like, "Well, we got to keep her alive. Don't kill her because she's the only one that can identify Axis." So, and he said, "What about the other jerk off?" And she's like, "I don't care." She's like, he goes, "I want to hang him."
Yeah.
And
I want to hang him.
Like, I want to
make
hang
an
him.
example.
And but it's the look of joy in his face when he says, like, "That's what I want to do to this guy."
Yeah.
And it was so Ray Fiennes from like Schindler's List.
Yeah.
So do you see then? Again, this goes to what I'm saying. Like, remember in Obi-Wan, we got a hanging.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, oh, that sucks. This, you feel the dread. There's just this sense of menace and dread in this show.
It's the difference between,
and they're just humans. We're not putting it on a animatronic CGI alien or something to create. These are just people, and
I care about that guy. He only had like 2 lines.
Yeah,
he
of
let
course you do.
Bix use the call box. He has a son.
Right.
I know a lot about him where I care about him.
Right. Yeah, because they set it up because it's even that hesitancy that he has about letting her use the equipment at that point, and then you're absolutely right. It's that simple nod that he gives to his kid, and the fact that they're setting it up with not beating you over the head with it, like either. It's little lines like, again, with the doctor, with this maniacal smile he has on his thank you that he gets to do this. And you're like, oh, I know so much about this creep.
Right.
Just from this, as opposed to just like, I think that what you have is sometimes the villains can come off cartoony. Like the Inquisitors came off cartoony.
For sure.
They were cartoony. And then so it's not as intimidating as watching like, oh, these people like this empire, like this like really happens.
It's the... You know, in the movies we see, the spy movies, the doctor comes in with his little black leather bag and he opens it up. He's like, well, I haven't used these tools in a while, but we're going to have some fun here.
And
you're like,
didn't you
oh,
love
God.
what the torture device was?
Yeah.
It wasn't a needle. It wasn't anything. It was the
She even says, like, it's nothing physical.
No.
You're not physically assaulted.
the screams of alien children.
Yeah.
Kids.
Like
Getting slaughtered.
crazy. And what a great transition it was when Bix directed masterfully, by the way, this one. Yeah. She screams at the top of her lungs for being tortured, and it goes into the sound of them working away in the prison of them chipping away, and it was just such a nice sound mix. It was really well done.
The 2 different scenes we got to see in these episodes, and then I feel like we got more clarity that they're probably building the Death Star. And
you think so?
Yeah, I think because I think that it's really important what they're building. At first, I was like, are they just building to keep them busy? But I think it's very important, which is why they're disposable.
Right.
And why they are, like, droids are more important, because whatever it is, they just need to get it done. And that's why they're, like, imprisoning them for unknown amounts, because it's like, just get this thing done.
Right. And unjustly.
Yeah.
It's not even, they're not, Cassian didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And he's in there, and it was that all of that, the way that was set up, and how he's building these people out. And then I didn't realize. I think you guys brought it up last week, Mike. I think you did, where one of the characters is
Melshi.
Melshi from Rogue One. So I don't know, man. There was just so much, and I'm trying to think if there's anything in particular that we missed in this episode. I know that we start off. I mean, the stuff. Oh, there was the other one when Deirdre and the Imperial crew are all talking about how they caught the rebel. They caught the one rebel.
Yeah.
And how they just don't even value life. These people, and they're just like, well, we can't just kill him because if we do, then it's gonna.
That's a red flag.
Yeah,
Make it look like an accident.
And then she comes up. What if we come up with an accident, kill him, and then it's like, great idea. Like just checking off the list, like just writing off human life just like that.
It reminds me of what we did to a lot of the Black Panther leaders, actually. Like the FBI. Right. They're just all these on accident murders of the leaders of this massive thing for human rights, which is like crazy. That's what I love about the show. I feel like it's the most replicant of our society.
I think I don't think it's just necessarily
not America. I'm saying the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Look at the stuff that happened in Russia.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, a photographer. Oh, we don't know how that happened. Oh, of course you don't.
Yeah.
He fell off a balcony in a hotel. Wait, what?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
the journalist, Kushigi, or...
And throughout history, whether it's the Romans, whether it's like that type of stuff, and the way that blends in, you just start thinking about how how people stay in power, come in power. But now that the empire, the thing that I really love about the show is it shows that even though Cassian up top says, look at them all fat, they don't care, they don't do this, but it shows you once you start poking the bear's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like this isn't just like eventually you're going to be able to have the farm boy come in and blow up, the big toy.
Right.
But they're going to kill a lot of people before that happens.
Yeah, they're not all the same. Some of them just want to stay in power, like what we were talking about, the senators who just want to be lazy and just want to stay in power. Some of them want that to be like evil power.
Yeah.
So there's differences between them, which we haven't seen in the past. I feel like all the dark side is just dark evil. There's no like layers to it.
No, it's true. What do you think? Because there's a lot. The crew itself, the jail crew, prison crew. How are they able to work through all night and all day? I would say they're probably having trade coffee. That's what I would guess. I would say trade coffee is what they probably gave them to keep them up, to keep them working. And I'll tell you what, trade coffee is awesome. Steph, be honest, how great is it smelling here right now?
Fabulous.
It's like a little coffee shop, and I love it. And we're always making sure that it smells like that in here, and it's because of trade coffee. We have so many different ones that we've been trying out, and you guys can do it as well. Because if you're a big coffee drinker like me, and I know you love coffee, who doesn't love coffee? You got to check out Trade Coffee. It makes it very easy to get the best coffee. They deliver it fresh from the finest local roasters around the country. If you've been getting your coffee from the grocery store and drinking the same coffee every day, honestly, try to get something better. And how do you get it better? Trade Coffee. I couldn't believe it. I'll be honest. I was like, okay, I'll see. Is it that different from the place that I get when I get my coffee at a grocery store? 100%. The coffee is so much better, and it's so easy to get. Fresh roast delivered to your doorstep from local roasters around the country with Trade. So Trade Coffee, what it is, it's a coffee subscription service that makes it so simple for you to discover new coffees and make your best cup of coffee at home every day. No fancy equipment required. So it doesn't matter whether you know what you like or you're new to specialty coffee and you need some help. Trade makes it easy and convenient to discover new coffees. They send ground coffee or whole beans for however you make your coffee at home. So whether you're just getting started or you're a coffee aficionado looking to discover something new, Trade guarantees that you're going to love your first bag or they're going to send you a new one for free. That's the best. I have been loving it. I am definitely not going to be getting a new one for free because I absolutely love it. No complaints on my end. Drinking it every day here, and just it's. I hope they stay out forever. I hope you guys buy some of these. Try it because I want them to be around forever. I love these guys, and they're really great. Upgrade your coffee today with Trade Coffee and let them take the guesswork out of finding your perfect cup. Because here's the deal that I think is a great deal. Trade is offering our listeners a total of $30 off your subscription plus free shipping. But you got to go to drinktrade.com/bigthing. Drinktrade.com/bigthing. $30 off your subscription for the best coffee in the country. One more time, drinktrade.com/bigthing. So, as I mentioned, and a lot of people keep asking, Yes, we have a lot of. We've got some shirts, and Mike will show you his Top Gun guy. Nope, that didn't work.
Try it again.
I have it here somewhere. Mike has this one right here. It didn't work.
Here.
What's happening?
The Top Gun guy?
I had it.
to-
I got it.
The Top Gun guy?
Show him, Mike.
The Top Gun guy? God damn it, Steez.
All right, so we got the Top Gun guy, that shirt. We have all that stuff. But people ask, and I got one for
What do they
Seth,
ask?
Yeah, what about me?
Sith Council.
Sith Council. That's all in the store. You can get that. So people asking us, how do I support the show? So we have patrons and patreon.com/The Big Thing Show. We have the merch store. We have all this, a like, a comment, all of that. But what I always also say is that if you're a coffee drinker, try Trade Coffee and let me know what you think. If you can get a $30 discount off your subscription. I mean,
That's
come
the
on.
word.
Thank you. But have you tried it yet?
No, I need it.
I have some right now. I'll give you. Are you coffeeed out this morning?
No.
All right, before you leave,
I
I'm
have
gonna
a
get you-
long day. I would love a cup of coffee. It actually smells really great in here.
Brett.
Brett,
Where's Brett?
A cup of coffee?
Can I get coffee?
Can I get a cup
What
of
I do,
coffee?
I have a cup of coffee. We just brewed it. That's why it smells so
Just freshly.
No, it
brewed.
smells so good in
I
here.
love it.
I'm not gonna lie.
good. It's great. Okay, before we move on to, I do want to. We'll get into it a little later because I want to see how you guys think the prison break is going to happen, and we'll talk about that in a second. But before we do that,
What are we going to talk about
I
now?
think it's gonna be. This is my favorite arc.
yes,
Of the season.
it's pretty good. But we'll get back into it. But let's talk about Star Wars
News.net.
The Acolyte, and this is from Newsnet. Yes.
Wow.
So
Yes.
the Acolyte is finally. Some news come out. Well, the news keeps coming out from everybody except Lucasfilm, but
And you don't think it's official because it's not
No,
official.
I do.
That's the Harloff way.
You don't think it's official? You don't think it's official? You do now.
I've thought it's always official.
I never.
You both didn't.
Look,
Ma'am,
it wasn't-
ma'am, silence, ma'am.
It wasn't
silence.
It wasn't a matter, and I still stand by this.
You just wanted the official word.
No, it wasn't a matter. If,
Then what is
if-
the word?
If they're giving these announcements by the trade,
Right.
it's why aren't you getting it and doing it, and not even mentioning it at
The
your
big
events?
the big events.
That-
You're right.
That was the baffling
Sure.
thing to me. It was-
That is.
It is
what
baffling.
You said.
Yeah, like because even like when they went to D23 and Marvel had that. Brett, we got to try. Steph, we got to get Steph one of those.
Coffee,
She's gotta
Brett,
try
coffee.
trade. She's got to try a
Coffee.
trade, but
Please.
they had this thing, where I don't understand Marvel whether it's a project Daredevil, right?
Yeah. They just.
Daredevil is coming. That was an incredible noise.
was
I
that?
know.
I don't know what was that.
I don't know.
You're going to throw up here?
No, well, you guys know I've had a
No,
cough
sugar.
for
There's
2
milk.
weeks
There's milk.
now.
You got a
Yeah.
cough?
Do you want milk?
You
Yes.
got lingering COVID?
Do you want cream?
Yes, please. No, I didn't have COVID. I just got
That's
a
it,
cough, and so it's just been going.
It's lingering. You probably had it's a stupid thing that's going around.
So annoying.
But
I'm sorry.
yeah.
anyway, but
Yes.
but
no
Daredevil,
announcements, no nothing. They denounced Daredevil.
They think-
Put up a little. But I think with Daredevil, it was a combination of a lot of things. Like we had Charlie Cox was in Spider-Man.
Yes.
The She-Hulk trailer dropped. He was in that.
Sure,
so it was
sure,
like
sure.
they knew you're not giving him. So with Acolyte, we didn't have any little drops.
But it's still
build up
it's
to-
still a project that's coming out in like 2 years.
You're right. I'm not
and,
lying.
And they talked about a ton of projects, so they didn't mention anything. But all this casting's coming out. They announced their star at a press line at Comic-Con. It was weird, but now we get official word.
Yeah.
That they are. What do you think?
It's coming.
No.
Oh, I didn't try it yet.
Oh, okay.
I
hot.
didn't want
It's
to.
hot. I see the steam coming up.
Super
All
right,
hot.
wait.
Let her-
I
let
wanna
her-
give
let
it
her-
a proper taste.
All right.
Proper
take it easy.
taste.
Okay, let's
know.
let it sit for
Was
2
that-
minutes. Oh, part 2.
Yeah, part 2. We got another noise.
Or another earthquake.
I don't know what's happening here. All right, the
The
Acolyte.
way I was the only one who didn't look in the right
It
direction.
was hilarious. Steph's talking about that clip. If you guys didn't see it, it's the only.
It's so worrisome for my survival if I'm
know.
ever in a scary movie.
Okay, listen. The Acolyte starts shooting in Scheinfeld Studios almost 2 years after it was officially announced by Kathleen Kennedy. Leslie Headland's new live-action Star Wars series has finally started shooting in the UK. According to Bespin Bulletin, cameras are now rolling on the outdoor set built at Scheinfeld Studios, Berkshire, 40 miles west of London. Construction of the set has been ongoing for at least a couple of months, with the first pictures surfacing on the internet in early September. Bespin Bulletin also posted an aerial view from the set in October showing how much progression has been made. They are reminiscent of set photos that we got from several Andor locations back in the first half of 2021. though the sets are certainly not as large. Unlike Andor, though, it is expected that the Acolyte will combine built-in sets and the volume technology. That's great. That was used in The Mandalorian and Obi-Wan. But aren't they doing?
I don't. You're
Hold
like,
on, let's
but
see.
wait, there's more.
Interestingly enough, Andor showrunner Tony Gilroy has said in multiple interviews that it was not possible for them to combine shooting on a soundstage and in indoor sets. Here are 2 aerial photos of
Outdoor
this.
sets.
Right. So here's the.
I got to tell you,
See if there's
when
any-
I see pictures like that, scroll up. Is that what our
well, they
viewers
can't-
are seeing
they
right now?
can't see it, no.
Oh, they can't. Well, they're showing the sets. I love pictures like that. I don't know if it's the actor in me or a kid growing up on movies and little teases that we got. I remember back in the day, now 30 years ago or so, when they showed the aerial shot of Pinewood Studios when they built Gotham City for Batman.
Oh.
And they built basically like half a mile of Gotham, and it was just like that. And ever since then, I love that stuff.
It's really cool.
It's just, to me, it's the peak behind filmmaking. And it's like one of my jobs at work at Universal Studios, and I get to go in the back lot.
That's like when people
You know,
are rude to crew and designers. I'm like, they make it possible.
That's the set right there.
I love seeing
So
stuff like that. I
sick.
love, and that might be one scene in the show.
Yeah,
And they
maybe-
built all that.
maybe, yeah,
Probably
sure.
not. But
All
I
right,
just love stuff like that.
So,
Love it.
going
Shoot.
back to.
So Gilroy couldn't
But wait.
use the volume and
That's what he
real
says.
sets. I think that's fantastic.
That's what he says.
Well, it shows. And it looks awesome.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know. Is it concerning that
They
they're
need
going to
I
be doing
want
that for
Gilroy
Acolyte?
on more
I know.
projects.
The Acolyte now becomes the 3rd live-action Star Wars series in production at the same time. So, though Ahsoka may be about to wrap, if it hasn't already. Skeleton Crew, the new series from John Watts and Christopher Ford, and executive produced by Jon Favreau and Filoni, still has at least another month left of principal photography in Los Angeles. Additionally, Bespin Bulletin is saying that The Mandalorian Season 4, which Favreau has been scripting for a while, could begin filming in Manhattan Beach Studios as soon as this month. This would line up with Ahsoka wrapping up now, but certainly would mean the team over there is not taking a break. Ahsoka began filming a month and a half after The Mandalorian Season 3 wrapped and has been shooting ever since, currently with Skeleton Crew in the same lot. The Acolyte has yet to be officially dated, though a release date sometime in the first half of 2024 seems likely. It will be shooting in the UK until May. Meanwhile, Andor Season 2 will also start shooting in the UK in November and will keep doing so through August, targeting a late summer or early 2024 release. Leslie Headland has lined up an all-star cast led by Amanda Stenberg, who has already been seen around the set, including Jodie Turner-Smith, Lee Jung-jae, Manny Jacinto, and Charlie Burnett. All right, lots to talk about. First things first. So it's good that we're shooting. That's good. I agree with them. I think that 2024 is realistic because let's do what we always do here.
Let's do it.
We got February. We got Mandalorian Season 3.
I was going to ask you that. I was driving in today.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about Mando. So February, really? So we're not going to get any Star Wars around Christmas time, huh?
Nah.
That sucks.
I know. Well, I mean, Bad Batch comes out in January.
That's not Christmas time.
It's not. But
Yeah.
that's the earliest one
It'll
you
be
got.
a good time though to rewatch season 1 and 2.
Mando 1 and 2.
Yeah.
They also don't want to jump
Which I
on-
haven't done in since I feel like a year and a half.
We
2
should
years.
do it. We should do it on this show. Like
Wanna do
just
a rewatch?
rewatches, maybe.
Yeah.
If we lead into it, if we have enough time to lead into it. I mean, it's only 8 episodes a season or something. 10 episodes.
I think it's 10.
Yeah, maybe we can
Yeah,
watch
so-
2 and episode 2.
We could
Or
do
at
it.
least season 2.
We might be able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch them
We'll
both.
try to plan it out.
I'm going to too, but I'm
try to
just
plan
saying
it
for
out.
the show.
Yeah.
But they're shorter episodes anyway. But
Yes, sir.
yeah, I agree with you. I think that if we don't, well, they probably also don't want to step on Guardians, which is a Christmas special.
The holidays. Yeah, you're
So,
right. You're
you
right.
know,
You're right.
So they'll have that.
Is,
And
that, is that a movie?
It's
like
a
a little
special presentation. It's
Have you
like
seen the trailer?
It's like
No.
Werewolf by Night.
I didn't
Special
know,
presentation.
Yeah, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm so over the over comedy.
Yeah.
But as I was watching, I was like, it's just a Christmas special, and it's kind of.
You watched it.
I watched the trailer.
It reminds
okay.
me of, I mean, I don't say the Star Wars one, but in that vein of we're taking characters you love, putting them on this little adventure.
Yeah, it looks fun.
It
But
feels like it's going to be Mantis and Drax, Main, and
and Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think for me, I stick with the fact we got Mandalorian season 3 is coming out in February.
Okay.
And then I would say,
Ahsoka.
yeah, because Bad Batch, then Mandalorian, then Ahsoka is probably, I'd say, August, September.
So you think so Mando's going to be what? Let's say 8 episodes.
Let's see.
Mando.
So that's going to be February, March, little April.
Yeah.
You think we're going to get Star Wars and get until August? Wow.
We'll be done in, let's see, February. We have February, and then you'll be done in around March or April.
Yeah, it was 8 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the only thing is it just depends on when Andor Season 2 is coming out. If Andor Season 2 is coming out next year,
That's true.
then maybe
You think
Ahsoka-
Andor 2 before Acolyte? Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're already.
Where's
filming.
Skeleton Crew dropping?
Skeleton Crew, they said next year.
2023?
That's what they said, but
So I
don't know.
push Ahsoka up. I push Ahsoka
So
into
like May or
the
June?
Obi-Wan slot, and then Skeleton Crew closes out the year.
I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. That's also why they don't do any announcements anymore. And they had, obviously we talked about it last week.
They
What?
need to not. They bungled that.
Announcements
quite a
with
bit.
film, I agree, but they already have all these things planned out. Like, when are we getting these shows?
Yeah.
And I think that I wonder how much they have to coordinate with Marvel because they don't want to step on toes.
But then again, think about we talk about stepping on
Hold on,
toes.
we got a review
oh
here.
shit, there it
We got
is.
a review.
That's really good stuff.
Are you going to get a subscription?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's
yes.
really good, and I'm telling you, I
It's
wasn't.
so dang.
Your makeup's
I
on point today, Steph.
Thank
I mean,
you.
it always is, but I'm looking
I
in the mirror
only
there.
get stuff for this show. that
Wow.
I know. I'm telling you, it's really good. It's like little mom and pop shops.
Yeah, I love it.
It's really good.
Really.
It's really good.
And I'm like a huge coffee connoisseur.
I'm telling you, you gotta check it out.
3 beverages on the table too.
Yeah.
You are.
I love beverages. I love sauce.
Oh, tomato sauce.
I love beverages. I love sauce.
That's
like,
a T-shirt right there.
Yeah, it's just like I
Sauce
just
it up with Steez.
I want everything dripping, literally.
Like sauces?
Yes.
Just sauces.
everything, all sauces.
Yeah.
Throw it on.
Jesus.
It's really good.
Yep.
So
This
you're.
coffee's excellent, truly.
It's really
Now,
good.
Kristian,
not
you hear
getting
that? Next
paid
up,
for
we need
this.
a barbecue sauce or some kind of sauce
I know.
sponsor.
No, well, right now we got the coffee one, so to use that code, Steph.
Yum.
Everybody else now.
I will.
All right. Anyway, so Acolyte. Now the next question goes into
What's that?
what the hell is it?
We don't know.
That we don't know, and I love that we don't know. Now I think that we do. All we do know is that it's before Phantom Menace,
Okay.
which is something they haven't been playing in. Now, where does Leslie Headland go with tone now? Because if they just started shooting, that means she's watched Andor,
Facts.
right? She's seen Andor. She's seen these other shows. She's a big Star Wars fan. So the question is, when she's looking at it, does she say, all right, I want to go more into what the blend of what they were doing on whether it was Mandalorian, or I want to go a little bit more what they were doing with Obi-Wan, or really like what they're doing on Andor? I would say that it's going to lean towards Andor because of what she's done with Russian Doll.
Yeah.
And it's that, like, if she's able to go that dark with it and realize that there's an audience that wants to see a more serious side of it, don't make the Siths some cartoony. Make them. If the Empire is as scary as they are in Andor, the Sith should be. In no world should the Empire be more scary than the Inquisitors, and they are by 1,000%. These Sith need to be terrifying.
Yes. I think that she's going to go more in Andor, but I do think it's going to be sassier, like a little more fun, because
Yeah, a little
that
more
is
space opera.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think could be a really cool tone. I think she's going to keep the Empire as evil, but I think that there's going to be characters that are a little more spicy. Like, I think Diego's getting there, Cassian, but it's not right now.
You know what I'm going to say?
Go ahead.
I'm going to say something that's going to make it, I don't know if it make any sense. Maybe it will. This is filming in England.
Yes.
Andor's filming in England. I think there is just something about filming there, the quality of, or not, I don't say the quality of talent, the actors they're getting for all the roles, not just the big roles, the smaller roles. That's what they're going to be casting out of. Probably you're going to be casting out of actors that they really like for Andor, but they couldn't get, so they're going to have got them in their bank of actors that they really like. Look at Boba, Mando, Obi-Wan, all filming LA crew, LA casting. You got famous people popping in like Flea.
Obi-Wan didn't do part of it in.
I think some of
I
it was
thought
in
they
London,
had.
no?
Yeah, they had a set there that had a set photo leaks.
I don't know. I remember it was all the talk was in LA.
I know they
because
did
the
a lot
volume.
of,
They use the
yeah,
volume
they
for
did-
everything,
yeah,
and that's where that is. I just feel it will go more Andor.
Yeah.
I think it just maybe they're using some of the same
Well, but this is
creative builders and designers that are always over there, and they've got a kind of a Star Wars base. Like, you know how Marvel's got their Pinewood in Atlanta.
Yes.
So like everything films in Atlanta. So a lot of the stuff kind of has that same vibe, where I think Star Wars has always had a thing in England. You know, they've always,
Yeah.
but with the TV stuff, they built L.A. and it's easier for Favreau and everyone. We're right here, but I think that's their own little thing over there, and I think it's going to lean more Andor.
I think you're right.
From a technical, the technical aspects of everything behind of a production funnels it to that.
Yes, but I think the other reason and the thing that we should absolutely be looking at when it comes to TV, as you said earlier about Andor, where Star Wars didn't just like it doesn't no right being this good as a television show, right? Now, Tony Gilroy is a really great filmmaker and a great writer, but wait 1 second. So he took those skills and whatever he did, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Whatever he did to kind of retool Rogue One and made it work, he's doing that with Andor, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I stand by it and I say, like, I think Deborah Chow, the 2 episodes that she did, or the episodes that she did for Mandalorian were just like chef's kiss, beautiful. I don't know if she was the right choice overall to run an entire show right away. I did at first, but after seeing what I saw, I don't know. I think she needed more help, right? Now, Leslie Henlin, by the way, is a experienced showrunner and has been working in a very highly acclaimed show in Russian Doll. I think we're in tremendous hands here with the tone of television, even more so than Tony Gilroy, who was not a big TV person.
Yeah, what I was going to say to your point, what I said about, has no right being this good, I meant in the sense that Star Wars, we've always been told, and we believe it, is it's for kids.
Right.
It always is. It always has been, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it's great. This, to me, is not for kids.
It's not for kids.
And this is this first property, I think,
Andor
is. This is the first property I think Star Wars says, this isn't for kids. We're not making the Lucas Star Wars of, it's for children. And if you're an adult, it speaks to the child at your heart. Yeah, this speaks to the adult of us as this world we're living in. And that's, I think, why it's hitting so hard is because we see this every day.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I meant. Not to disparage Star Wars at all.
Yeah, I think
totally.
But
I just feel.
So the other thing, though, what Mike says, though, I always say when it comes to creative choices and when the fans always say, well, Disney will never make that creative choice, they're not making that creative choice. That's Lucasfilm. Yeah. However, what I will say is this. They can't keep making shows like Andor without Disney going, come on, you're doing all these serious shows here and you're doing all these adult. We're the ones for the kids. Skeleton Crew seems to be that way. Mandalorian is for both kids and adults, obviously. Bad Batch. Acolyte, though, because of the subject matter in general, with kind of the Sith coming to power, where do you think it lands?
I think somewhere in the middle, but more towards Andor. And I think that this is the beauty of being on Disney Plus and having more money to create shows is that they can do both. Like, they can do a variety of things now in a way when they were only putting out movies, they couldn't because they were trying to get one target audience. So I feel like this is it's a good thing that we're finally getting something like Andor because it's showing that they're willing to have a variety. Like Marvel is.
Yeah. And I think when I said about Andor is also like, I don't want to see aliens pop up. It'll be weird if they show. I think Acolyte would be that next, keeping the tone of Andor, what we've done with this, then bring out creatures, but keep it in this tone and keep this. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I'm trying to thread this needle here. I'm curious with how they're going to do it, and with are they going to bring in? Are they going to
lightsabers, blasters?
Well, they're going to. Sabers. It's about the Sith,
right?
And it's about and the Jedi. Or it's like the last tail end of the High Republic. So the Jedi are going to be all over the place in that one. I think this is going to be a very heavy lightsaber show.
Yeah.
And it should be if it's the Acolyte. The question is, who's the main character here in the Sith? We know that Amandla is the lead, right? Now, is Amandla a Jedi? Or is Amandla the Acolyte? Like, or is the Acolyte about we don't know enough about it. You can just say, like, it to me is the one that I've been looking forward to the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've been talking about this forever. So to clarify for me, Phantom Menace is in live action and animation. That is the earliest we've gone back, right? As far as canon, what is considered with everything we've got right now?
As
is
far
Phantom?
as that we've seen. Tales of the Jedi is before Phantom.
So, but that's still. That could fit in the prequel era because it's Dooku.
Yes.
It's
anything you're saying.
It's Qui-Gon.
Right.
I'm saying so. That's pretty as far as they've gone. They haven't gone back, say,
100 years, 50
in the
years.
games they have, right?
But that's not really.
Yeah, but even in the games,
not Knight of the Old Republic on that. I'm talking like
canon,
right. I'm saying in canon.
Yeah.
Will this act like give us this first taste of that era?
I think so. Yeah, I think they already said that it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the end of the High Republic. It's like starting to.
But we don't know a time frame. We haven't said this is 10 years before.
I think it's about 50. From what
50
they
before Phantom Menace.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, we'll find.
So
out more
Palpatine probably is.
He's either,
20.
I mean,
30 years old, maybe, if that.
If that at all.
So there's probably no Palpatine.
No, what I would say, if you're going to see anybody, you're going to get Plagueis.
So this
That'd be
would be
sick,
the.
yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at. So this would be the great project to not deal with Palpatine,
Right.
his Sith coming into power. It's the Sith before him.
Yeah, it's like it's like the wave of crime that he ultimately becomes.
So then the actress you said that's the lead, she's the Acolyte. She's got to be.
That's what
We
they
don't
said.
know that. She's not a Jedi. She's not some random Jedi. She's the Acolyte. If she's the lead that we
don't
hear
know.
the most talk about, the series is called The Acolyte.
We don't know. It could be.
She's got to be it.
Could be.
Could be completely wrong. I could be off my rocker.
Could be a Jedi. Either way, all right. So that's news that we have there. The Acolyte has begun filming. Other news that we have now found out about. Oops, that's me. I just took myself off. Where is it? It's Rogue One. Let me talk a little bit. I'm going to tell you guys a little about Rogue One and what they say here. This is Tony Gilroy about what he actually did. There hasn't been a lot of talk about it because it's been kind of like a quiet thing that everybody knows. It's like so this is what Andor's editor says on massive changes that he and Tony Gilroy made to save Rogue One from terrible trouble. Is where it
Wait, did they just say the editor is John Gilroy? Is that his brother? Another brother?
is that what they said?
It said John Gilroy.
That'd be sick. I like when families get along.
Yeah, damn thing. All right. Anyway, so we have Andor is now obviously this is the editor who was talking about what he and Tony Gilroy made to save Rogue One from terrible trouble. So stories of a chaotic production have surrounded Rogue One over the years, specifically in regards to major changes to the story and the fate of the characters in post-production. Now, John Gilroy has shed some light on them. It's never too late to learn about juicy behind-the-scene details, and Rogue One is the theatrical gift that keeps on giving. Despite much pre-release talk of a doomed project and countless rumors and tidbits since 2016 suggesting the film was heavily rewritten and reworked, a vast majority of general audiences, critics, and Star Wars fanatics have heavily embraced the Gareth Edwards-directed prequel to A New Hope. During an episode of the Playlist Andor-centric podcast, John Gilroy, brother of showrunner and lifesaver Tony Gilroy, shared fresh new details about his experience working on both Rogue One and the hit Disney Plus series Andor. You can listen to the conversation on Spotify. We've got some of the highlights. So much has been speculated regarding the scale of changes made to the film in post-productions, including rewrites and emergency reshoots. Gilroy didn't want to give away too much, but mentioned they were really changing things and coming up with quite a different story. So this is what I'm very interested about right here. So I don't know how much I'm supposed to say here. Let me get this here. I finally found it. So he says about the production itself. He says, I don't know how much I'm supposed to say here, but it was really changing things and using all the tricks in your bag as an editor to make things work. However you need to make them work, you make them work. It was actually, the basic plan was very simple. They had the movie that they had, and they called Tony in. And Tony huddled for a while with another editor who was already on, Colin Godey, and used a lot of things that he had discovered when we were working together, and just basically made a new story. It was a quite different story. And then they convinced Disney to invest in that story, which was a sizable investment in time and money. And then it was just realizing what that was. So it's a new plan. You're not just going in and experimenting. No, we had a new blueprint. This is very, very telling. Perhaps the most interesting fragment from the conversation is how he described doing sizable rewrites in the editing room with the clock ticking. And so we went in and just did what we did, and I had a blueprint. I didn't pay much attention to the other film, except what we were doing sometimes. Is we were taking a scene and we're totally retasking things in that scene. I work with a microphone right next to my Avid, and if I get into a pickle with something, I just mock a line in, an abridged line, or whatever I have to, and then later on it's codified, and then we get the actor to do it. So there's a lot of rewriting that can go on in a cutting room if you need to. It's not something you want to do for the first thing. If everybody wrote really great scripts and executed them perfectly, there'd be no need for that. But things happen.
Jesus.
But things happen, and there's another elevated level to change the trajectory of a story or a film, and that's something that people do. He then added such massive changes are impossible to do in television due to the traditionally companies that goes to those productions. When you start to experiment, what a lot of big features do, a lot of big features, they go in, they have a weak third act, and then they shoot it, and they see what they have, and then they go back for all these gigantic reshoots, and yeah, that's an expensive way of working. I mean, you can't do that in television. Let's see. So it just goes on a little bit more. They talk about it. All right.
For some guy that said he couldn't say much.
He said a lot.
Jesus.
But look, man, this is something that we all knew, right? And they've never really said it, and I have said this kind of 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
Gareth Edwards is a very nice person. I've had an opportunity to talk to him a couple of times. He's a nice guy, and I think he's done nice jobs with other things too. But in no world did he direct that movie that came out.
So he did The Raid and then Godzilla, right?
He did The Raid. No, not The Raid. No, you're thinking of
Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, Gareth
Evans.
Gareth Edwards did Godzilla movie. No, he did Godzilla, but he did a movie Monster or something. I can't remember what it was called. But anyway,
The Monsters.
Not the Monsters, but a monster something. But he did something, and then he does Godzilla, and then he does this movie.
He did the monster movie that was like a quarantine zone.
Yeah, small movie.
Yeah.
But in no world did he direct that movie that we saw. Because if you make a movie that made $1 billion, where's he been?
It just goes to show you the inner workings of Hollywood, and they talk.
Of course. It shows you so
to the world at large, he's the director.
This editor says it as much. Whatever movie that they had, and whatever movie it was, and the rumors that we heard about Vader killing all of them and doing all this too, this guy just said it. It was a different movie. Mm-hmm. The movie that we saw in those trailers with certain things and Vader scenes, different movie. Gilroy came in, and what we're seeing now in Andor is what he did to Rogue One.
Yeah, I wonder if they didn't even have Andor as an important character.
I don't know.
They might have not.
But I remember every trailer looked great. And again, you can make a great trailer out of a crappy movie.
They had no movie though, dude.
But I'm just saying, like, what we still, as much talk as this is, we still don't know what that original movie was.
Oh, totally. We're not saying it was bad.
The script is, hey, we're stealing the Death Star plans. That's the script.
I remember
it can't change from that, right?
I had heard from a really reliable source when in 2014, the guy said to me, he's like, I can tell you what the next movie's going to be, but you can't say anything. And I said, I would love to hear it. And he's like, this guy was a reporter.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's going to be about the Death Star, the plans of that I'm getting those plans, but it's going to be a bunch of bounty hunters that find it. And the bounty hunters get it. And I'm like, oh, which ultimately the movie was the plans, but it wasn't the bounty hunter stuff. So I wonder how much, because this guy is just an ace reporter, right? Yeah. So like I believe everything that was coming out from what he was saying.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the plan at first, was the bounty hunters find it.
You look at the characters, they could have been bounty hunters.
Right.
Absolutely. Baze Malbus.
All of them.
All those guys. You could see them as all bounty hunters, not, hey, we believe in this cause. We're out this for the money.
Yeah.
100% you see that.
I wonder, though, what happened. Like, for example, I've heard the stories where they had a character that was kind of this pushback rogue kind of character, and it ultimately became Saw because Pablo Hidalgo was like, hey, we have a guy like that in canon.
Yeah.
Now, was that during the Gilroy phase, or was that during the Gareth Edwards phase? Because remember, they did reshoots with him. He was younger in shots. He was older in shots.
In the trailers we saw, like, he didn't have the hair. And he had
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of different things.
That's going to be, I think, one of those we'll never know for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. If this guy keeps talking, we might know the whole thing.
I'm not allowed to say anything. Well, but here's 13 paragraphs
but honestly, everything's different.
But what I did love and what I did take away from that is like, yeah, you're writing and I've got my microphone and I'll just throw in lines of dialogue that will... What is she proposing? You know damn well that was him. It's like, I got to have something here.
Something to throw it in there. But either way, I think it just confirms what we all knew.
Yeah.
Is that Tony Gilroy directed the Rogue One that we saw.
Okay, so he's saying there we had the movie, we went back and rewrote everything. So did they reshoot the movie? Or did he directed it? Did he, because there's always the saying, a movie's made 3 times. When you write it, when you film it, and when you edit it.
Right.
So did he just really the editing? That's where he's directing the film
No,
for
dude,
the.
I think
That's what they said.
Yeah, go ahead, Steph.
They said that they shot in they put in parts that didn't have the right dialogue that they
Right.
were going to rewrite in the edit to show the actors. This is what I got from it.
Yeah.
To show the actors what they want them to reshoot.
Yeah.
And then re-put that
Well,
in.
here's the thing: if you watch films, and it happens all the time, you can always.
Have you ever watched a film?
Have
said
you
you
seen
watch
a
films.
movie?
Is like you can tell.
I have never.
100% reshoots.
Yeah.
You're like, look at these
I
wigs.
can't.
Look at this. Look at this. You can always tell a reshoot. I can.
They
Like,
reshot that whole TIE fighter thing when she came out. Remember when she comes up and she's walking up in that TIE fighter?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's not there.
but when I saw that, my thought was in watching the movie is like, oh, they just shot extra stuff. It
Maybe.
didn't work.
Maybe.
So, but like for me, in a movie, especially with wigs, you're like, oh god, this reshoot's awful
Right.
because this actor was off filming something else. They cut their hair.
Kelly
they shaved it.
McGillis wig thing?
Oh god, like and the worst one for me is Shane Black's Predator.
Okay.
Holy Christ, Boyd Holbrook.
Yeah.
There's a shot of him. It's like it's one, and then it cuts to a Predator, and then it cuts back to him. It's insane. I'll post a picture of it
That's
for
fine.
you guys. But holy Christ!
But either way, there's what they did was they were able to save the movie, and I think it's
yeah, you can't tell.
But I think it's the reason why Gilroy got this show.
For sure. I think he might have come in with an idea, though. Like, maybe right when the movie was done or, like, when his head started turning of where he wanted to go, he might have been like, hey, if we do this way, I see a series coming with this.
Right.
So do you think Gilroy came in? It's this band of mercenaries, bounty hunters, getting the death, and he's like, no one loves these characters. They're all bad guys.
No. I think that it was.
I'm just
no,
curious.
I think the
God,
rebels.
I love this stuff
because I think a lot of that stuff was already. If you look at some of the things that were in there with Felicity Jones and the things that she was saying with I Rebel and the way that I think there were certain things that he retouched, right? Because there was some that remember she did that line I Rebel, that's not in there.
Yeah.
The certain things that they put in there that he changed up, that the rhythm wasn't working, the tone wasn't working, things that they would add in. And again, rumors was that Vader killed Cassian, Vader killed Jin, Vader killed everybody, and it was just such a like they didn't really do anything. They went the way that they do it here in his version, if this is his version, they went on their own terms.
Yeah.
And I think that's more poetic. I think it works overall.
I think it shows the fact that if Vader was the one to kill them, it makes them, I don't want to say more important than they are, but to Vader, they're just like, we see Andor and the workers, they're peons. They're no one to him. It's just these cogs that are they're faceless rebels to him.
I know. Do you
Where
think,
if you're fighting Vader, it's like, oh, these are the
know.
big moments where they're going to have their big stand.
Right.
It's like, no,
No, he
he's
didn't.
up there taking care of those plans, which is important. Screw these people down there. I don't care who they are.
do you think that Gareth Edwards signed an NDA
Oh, 100%.
because have you ever heard an interview with him?
He
afterwards?
doesn't, because he doesn't want to.
That's what I mean.
He doesn't want to blackball himself.
But
Like
that's-
if you come out and
right.
say this is what happened, this is my film, he's not a big enough filmmaker to be able to do like
Guy
look at
hasn't
Snyder.
This guy hasn't done.
Look at
anything
Snyder.
since though.
Look at Zack Snyder
but
and
Zack
what he
Snyder-
went through, and
Yeah.
all regardless of the changing of this or that, there is a contingency of executives that do not like that man
Right.
now. But he's still going to work. Because he
But,
didn't
yes.
back chalk it.
Right.
He dropped things like,
But Zack
here's
Snyder
my
also
Wonder
had
Woman.
But Zack Snyder also had a pretty extensive resume and a lot.
Sure,
of hits
that's what I'm
and stuff,
saying.
too.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
Gareth-
He's
yeah.
allowed to
Right.
because he's got
Right.
the cachet behind it.
Gareth Edwards is just like you haven't seen the guy, and it's a guy. He made $1 billion movie. You haven't seen.
And on the
him.
other hand,
otherwise,
you would-
Last Jedi it pops up in Last Jedi for like. 2
You would
seconds.
think he would go the other way. It's like, yeah, that's my movie. And lesser known production companies would be like, it's the guy that did Rogue One.
Right.
Absolutely. Netflix.
He hasn't used any of that stuff.
I
Where's
know.
Where's he been?
That's what I'm saying.
He's been nowhere.
He would be on Netflix making,
right.
even if
He
you're,
hasn't leveraged it at all.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's weird.
It's weird.
If
Yeah, because Ryan
not everyone's
Johnson
involved
got
in
his
that.
Netflix
No.
deal.
If you got Netflix or all these new streaming shows popping up, the guy that made Rogue One wants to make a show with us?
That's what I mean.
I do. Yes, I do. There's
yeah,
my resume. That's my film.
It's one thing to say, okay, there was a couple of things that we had some issues for and everything too, and they had to have some people come in and I directed the movie and they made $1 billion, as opposed to, oh yeah, the guy that they didn't even. Don't you think they would have brought the director and asked the director of Rogue One to do Andor? And they don't.
But do you think this? Do you
seen.
think this? Because this has happened before, and you find out about it 10 years later. Do you think this soured him on the industry? He's like,
Oh, I'm
this
sure.
experience.
I'm sure.
I wanted to make movies as a kid. I made this little monster movie. It was great. I got Godzilla, did well. I got Star Wars, and then to see this industry and how it's working, how it's
probably
taken
got
away
bullied,
from me.
dude. He probably got
That's what I'm
bullied.
saying. Do you
Yeah.
think he says? Do you think he's? It reminds me. I read this
There's a movie
phenomenal book
coming
on
out
the
in
two brothers.
2023.
He does. What is it?
True Love. It's a fantasy romance.
The two
Great.
brothers that
With-
made the movie.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Steph.
John David Washington,
great.
Gemma
Oh.
Chan, Ralph Inson.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so it's
So he's got-
it's different. It's with 20th Century Studios. So
We haven't heard a damn thing about it.
not at all.
But and that's a great cast, and that's a big movie. But
Big names.
we haven't heard anything about it.
Totally.
But still, when was it? So 2016 was Rogue One. What movie did he do after that?
nothing.
Nothing.
It reminds me.
That's bizarre.
Other than what you said, Last Jedi, a little bit.
No. But he was a cast member, but
Oh, yeah,
directing.
yeah, facts,
nothing.
facts.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, totally,
That's bizarre.
totally.
but it could be.
I'm
a
just
sense of-
happy because it is a little like this article is not looking good for Gareth.
Yeah, right.
It just reminds me of. I read a lot about. I love. You guys ever seen the movie Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's not good.
So far ahead of its time
Yeah.
though, with green screen and
Yeah, sure.
And those guys got invited to Lucasfilm Ranch with all the bigwigs to discuss effects, and they're like, "What are we doing here?" Then the movie just got railroaded by the studio. They wanted to make it. They wanted it for like $9 million in black and white, found footage type thing. And the studio's like, "No, this is our new Spider-Man," and this and that. And the guy after the experience is like, "I'm done with Hollywood. I can't do this anymore.
Right.
Took my life, my dream, and turned in this." And he doesn't make movies anymore. He hasn't made movies 20 years.
Well, I mean, remember that was their second movie out of the gate too, Rogue One, right? So it was
yeah,
Force
but it was a
Awakens.
huge hit.
It was $2 billion movies back to back.
Yeah.
So, and this was before all of the Lord Miller stuff, and then
Yeah.
we had, and then the Josh Trank stuff happened, but like all this, and then it started to get a little bit more like the Rogue One was the one where they actually kept contained and kept it quiet.
Yeah.
Lord Miller they couldn't do, like the other. I mean, then they started losing people like flies left and right. That was the beginning of it, but.
Yeah.
But Gareth Edwards played ball, and I think that's why you haven't heard a lot, and that's why this is the first article in 6 years that you've ever really heard about this, minus speculation. Anyway, pretty juicy details overall.
Juicy.
You can check a lot of this stuff out at Star Wars Newsnet. They have a lot of reports, so make sure you check that out. And for you guys, if you didn't already know, we have the store up there right now. You can go and check out all of these shirts, Sith Council shirts, as Steph just showed. We have a big thing up there. We have a lot of different shirts up there. We hope that you check it out. Trade Coffee, the link is in the description. Make sure you get some of that. And that's it, everybody. That is the show for today. For myself and Steph and Mike, it is the Sith Council. And we'll talk to you guys on the flip side. Peace.
I can feel